So I've got a feeling that I'm going to drag on this one because I just kind of want to get things off my chest of what's been going on, why I've been weird, what's been happening, why so inconsistent, and it's gonna say, you know what, to do this properly, this is gonna drag on for a lot longer than what I'd normally drag on for, and yeah, so we're gonna have to go back in time about a year. Yeah, August of 2017. That'd be fine. So this time last year, if anyone was with me then, my channel was just fucking blowing up. I mean, I couldn't do anything wrong. Like, I was getting like tens of thousands of views a week. You'd get contracts left and right, and it was going well. Yeah, you're on the verge of getting sponsors, subscribers were going up, views were through the fucking roof, and hell, even to this day, I will not know how that happened. Honestly, it just all started from an Infinite Warfare Rage video, and it just fucking snowballed massively, which was just weird as shit. And that was good. That was great, because it was bringing in a bit of extra money. Not that it was ever like a massive amount. We're talking probably about 100 quid a month, something like that, which in the grand scheme of things, it's not much at all. But it's still, it was money, it was doing all right. It was a bit of something extra. It was a bonus, and I was happy with that, man. And it was going really, really well. And then all of a sudden, just out of fucking nowhere, it stopped. It just stopped dead. And like, it was like somebody just flicked a switch, and all of a sudden, everything is just no more. Like, you were back, you were struggling, you were trickling, nobody was really watching. And dude, when that happens, like, it's hard to actually take, and it's hard to actually be like, all right, yeah, that's not a problem, because you're crazy if you want to spend your life going backwards. Like, in any way, shape, or form, you want to be going forward, whether that's in your work or your school or whatever, or your hobbies, or what you want to be doing. You don't want to be stagnating. You don't want to be sitting still. You want to always try and get better, and you always want to try and improve, and you always kind of want to go forward. And then I got to the point where, obviously, at this stage, this is going past that, the anxiety's playing up something fucking crazy. And I was just at the point, I remember at the time, like, we were just heading out to go Eurogamer. And after that, I was heading away from my wedding, so that was cool. I mean, that was like a really, really friggin' good time. Obviously, my anxiety was still being a little arsehole, and everything had come down on the channel, and that was a bummer. I mean, believe it or not, I think I always confuse myself and always worry so much about this thing. It's just because I actually give a shit, and I see that as both a blessing and a curse, which, I wouldn't really have it any other way, but I just wish I could make my fucking mind up sometimes, and that one's definitely on me. I have no idea why I can't, but I think that's just the way that I work. And then after the wedding, everything starts going south. Like I say, as far as YouTube goes, everything's falling off a cliff. COD World War II comes out, and I ain't feeling it. I ain't feeling it one bit. And then all of a sudden, I get into war, and yeah, it starts picking up. And I'm still at the point where I'm like, I still don't know what I want to do now. Do I want to carry on just doing Call of Duty and Overwatch, or do I want to try and start doing other things? And I went with the decision at that time to start doing other things. And at the same point, I am having my medication for my anxiety, and I'm kind of getting to this point now where I'm thinking that, all right, instead of just having one pill a day, I'm going to start having two. And I've also got these beta blockers as well, which calm me down, and dude, they mellow you out to fuck. It was crazy. And instead of having just a couple of them, I was having a handful of them, and it was just kind of making everything level itself out. And I was still happy with what I'm doing. Like, I don't want to say, like, at this point I was in a bad place or got to the point where it could have been really bad. It's never been that bad. I can't honestly say that I kind of felt like I hit rock bottom at this point. And then the winter rolls around, and I'm still kind of plodding with what I'm doing. I've got a bunch of different things going on, and it was working okay. Like, everything was good. It wasn't doing great, but it was picking up, and it was kind of like, all right, yeah, because, I was kind of really hard to accept. I was like, why is everybody going away? Why is this just not doing like it should be now? Like, I mean, come on, I got like 2,000 subs. Like, why the fuck? Like, I'm only getting 50 views. That does not make sense. And all of that soon went shit south, and if you've been with me for a while, this has happened. and that was around the winter time when my mum died, and that hit me harder than I actually thought at the time. Like, obviously, having Jodie and having Lee, like, it made it a lot easier, I think, than what it could have been. But nonetheless, I think I pretended that I handled it a lot better than what I actually did, because then I was taking even more anxiety pills, and I was taking even more of these beta blockers, which 1 or 2 ain't going to cause you any problems. When you're taking, like, 10 and 12 at a time, just to, like, also you mix that in with, like, sleeping pills as well, because sleeping was a real issue. You were all over the place come the evenings, you know what I mean? Like, by the time you'd done all that shit, you were just like fucking, it was just the only way I could get to sleep. I'm just gonna level with you. It was the only way I could get to sleep, because I was in the day, and my wife doesn't know this, and in the day, like, you put the brave face on it, because I'd always be that person you can talk to, and I'd always be the person, and I still am that person. I have no problem with being this person. Say, you know what, it ain't that bad. It could be a fuck ton worse. And you know what, you put this, like, I don't know, like the stern face on, and it was, you know, it worked. It was just my way of getting through things. And then the funeral happened, and I thought initially that was going to be a huge weight getting lifted off my shoulders, and the reality of the situation is it wasn't. It was far from that. And I'll never forget this. I'm never going to forgive my brother for this to this day. Now, on the way up in the hearse, which is bad enough, and bear in mind, this is just after Christmas. We're talking, my mum died on the 17th of December, and on the 29th, we were having a funeral. So, Christmas was great in our house last year. And then we're on the way up to the church, all the way up to the crematorium, and my brother says to me, on the way, my older brother, he says to me, he's like, I'm going to carry the hearse up. I'm going to carry the coffin up. And I was like, mate, that's just fucking dumb. I was like, I don't want to do that. I was like, you know what, this shit's hard enough as it is, but to go and carrying a fucking coffin up, I was like, I just don't think I can do it, man. I just don't, I don't think I got that shit in me. Anyways, we pulled up to the crematorium, and everybody's just like fucking staring at you. And, you know, don't get me wrong, it's not like, you know, they sympathize with you, and they know how hard it is to do. And then my brother, in his infinite wisdom, went and stood behind the fucking hearse, and there's him. He's starting to get this coffin out the back of the hearse, which has got my mother in it. And I will never forget this moment till the day that I die. So I was like, you know what? I can't let him do it on his own. He's around you know, these like the people who arrange a funeral and the pallbearers and shit like that. They went and met him at the back, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna put my brave face on, and we're gonna get through this. I was like, right, okay, I'm coming to help you. And we're carrying this coffin up, and it was so fucking heavy. Like, my mum was tiny. She was not a big person whatsoever, and especially when she died, she was really small. And I remember carrying this. It was like the heaviest thing I've ever fucking carried. And he wasn't even carrying it. He was rolling it along. And I remember I looked over to my brother. And I looked over to him. I just said to him in the middle of a full church. I was like, you're a fucking wanker for making me do this. And honestly, like, we just burst out laughing. Like, on the way up. Like, the most inappropriate time. And it was, whilst that point, it was funny. Like, I've got things that will live with me for a long time, which I kind of embrace. It's kind of like my inner dark side, and it's one of them things, as sadistic as it was to laugh at that point, I kind of think that, I don't know if that was like one of the best or worst things that I've ever done, but nonetheless, it just stuck with me, and I couldn't get the image out of my head, and it took a long time for that to go away. And I'm never going to thank him for that. I'm never going to freaking let him forget that. It's like, if I ever do anything to him, it's like, you did this. Well, you made me carry my mother's fucking coffin. You know, and yeah, that was that. So that hit me a hell of a lot harder than what I initially thought it was going to. I was kind of thinking, oh, you know, I'm strong, whatever, I can deal with this. Like, you know, nothing really phases me, except for birds. Fuck me. Boom. It just kind of put me, and I don't want to say it again in a bad place, because it just sounds so fucking amateur dramatic. Boom. Again, I could feel it in myself that something just wasn't right. Something just wasn't sitting whatsoever. And then I was this kind of point now, my anxiety is absolute fucking worse. And people look at that mental illness as a bit of a cop-out. And it's not whatsoever. Like, people think that you're scared of things. Like, you're scared of going to places, you're scared of this, you're scared of that. And, like, being scared's got fuck all to do with it. Being scared has absolute jack shit to do with any of this. what anxiety does, it's like your fight or flight reflex. Now, you've ever been, like, the best way I can describe it is if you've ever been driving a car and you're just driving along and some asshole is fucking overtaking it, and all of a sudden he's coming to your lane and like he's coming onto you and it gets really close and you kind of brace yourself thinking this is really gonna fucking hurt, and then just like out of nowhere you just avoid it. And then you could just feel your heart beating like just dead heavy, and like you feel like your legs go to lead. You know, have you ever had that kind of moment? But then after you get the payoff, you get the endorphins, you get the adrenaline rush, and you're like, fucking hell. It's like that, apart from you don't get the payoff. It's all build up and no payoff. And it's not a case of being scared. It's all of a sudden your brain's thinking you're in a life or death situation over fuck all. And you think I'm joking, and I'm not. And that was like that all day, every day, and it got to the point where it was so hard to fucking bear. And again, whilst I'm doing this, I'm still trying to work on YouTube. I'm still trying to like build this channel back to what it was, and it just wasn't working. You know, it just wasn't happening. So you kind of just trickle along, and I was like, first thing that I've got to do is I've got to get this pill situation under control, because, you know, I don't drink, and I'm not one to go into, like, I'm never going to find my answers in the bottom of a bottle. I kind of think if I did, they'd say, to be continued, try next one. And I kind of like, all right, this is the first thing that I've got to get under control, but, you know, my anxiety's so fucking bad. How the hell am I going to do this? So anyway, I went to my doctor and I did my tests and shit like this, and then he comes back to me saying, look, you got bipolar disorder. I was like, well, ironic, really, isn't it? And it was like, yeah, but I'm not depressed. And he's like, no, it seems to me you've got like a different kind, or like, the thing is with bipolar disorder as well, like, this is a bitch as well. You're like either on a manic high or you're on a fucking manic depressant. Like, it is like both extremes. Apart from I wasn't getting the manic depressant, I was only getting the manic high. And throw this in with constantly being anxious and being most evenings high as a fucking kite on all these different kind of prescription pills that I've been given. I was like, all right, well, this is starting to make a little bit more fucking sense now. And then obviously a few tests later, and I'm going for this, that, and the other. Like, I wish I'd have found this out 20 odd years ago, but yeah, I'm on the autistic spectrum. Which all this in a matter of a few months, it was a lot to take in. And then also find out that my wife is pregnant as well, which again is fucking great news, and I wouldn't have it any other way, but it's still a lot to take in. So it was kind of like come the April-ish time now, like I've kind of made it like, look, I can't have two lives. It's like, it just isn't going to work. I can't be normal happy Robbie by day, and then once all the lights are off and everyone's gone in bed, let me just scuff all these pills like Skittles so I can get some fucking sleep and be able to function at work tomorrow. So I just started coming off all the pills. The only ones that I stayed on was my sertraline for my anxiety. And it took a lot of nights of no sleep, and it took a lot of effort, but I was able to finally start shaking off of them. And around this time, I'm kind of thinking, you know what, I'm better now. I'm doing a lot better. I'm feeling a lot better. Like, you know, surely this could, you know, I could really start knuckling down and cracking on with this now. And then I had a discussion with a friend, and this friend he's a guy who I look up to as far as YouTube goes. He is a very, very, very big channel now, and I'm talking fucking huge. And like, he gave me like great advice, but I think it was the worst advice that I've also had at the same time, because it's something that works for him. And we all know that if you're going to do stuff like this, it doesn't necessarily need to be what works for other people. It needs to be what works for you. So anyway, in my infinite wisdom, and I was like, this is kind of like my bottom of the barrel now. Like, I was kind of getting to the point, like, say, I'm trying to go off my pills. I fucking hate my job all of a sudden. You know, I've been at this job now for 10 years or more. But all of a sudden now, I realize that I fucking hate it. I don't want to do it anymore. I want to grow this channel. I want to do this channel full time. Yeah, I know, right? What a fucking dumb idea. But bear in mind, I got crippling anxiety at this point, and this bitch ain't going away. You know, for all the times I was saying, oh yeah, I'm doing better, I'm doing fine, it was all bullshit. It was all a facade. Like, I wasn't doing better. I was doing shit. You know, but at the same time, when you don't speak to people and you try and hold that shit in, it don't get you anywhere. You know, so I was kind of like, and I spoke to him and I said, oh, what do you think? You know, I kind of want to get this to the point, like, because I know I can do it. I know I've done it, but I know I can be better. I know I can do better. And I was like, he said, well, how it worked for me was I became dedicated to something and I just went with it and I got an audience for it and I grew it over time. And it sounded so fucking simple. And I was kind of thinking, all right, well, what do I do that with? Anyway, I picked my game that I was going to do with, and I deleted every other fucking video that didn't have like a massive playlist in. And that was probably the biggest mistake I've made. Like, honestly, that was like the biggest mistake. Like, all my Quake videos went, all of my Paladins videos went, all my PUBG videos went, all my reviews went, all my first looks went. And I'd gone from having like 600 videos on this channel down to 300. And dude, that was kind of like, that's kind of leads me now to the point of where we're at. Because I've never recovered from that. Fuck me, like, if I had a YouTube time machine, obviously I had a time machine, I'd go back and see my mum once more. And then, to make it on top of that, one of my best friends, who, it was kind of inevitable that we were going to lose him. But I didn't actually think it was going to happen as quickly as it did. And so, I actually lost one of my best friends due to cancer, which was not easy, but at the same time, it wasn't as if it was like, it was directly close to me like it was my mother. Don't get me wrong, I've known them all of my life, and it sucks, and it does fucking suck. And I kind of thought, well, you know, that isn't going to have an implement on my well-being. No, it's not, surely. But at the same time, you know, when you've had somebody in your life that long, you know, like, say, for 27 plus years, and all of a sudden they're not there anymore, and you've seen them from being one, like, great person, this great, big, huge figure in your life, hell, almost like a second dad, to, you know, watching this cancer just eat away at them, and then just pretty much just rotting in a hospital bed. That's rough. It is rough. And, you know what, you throw all these things into effect, and it's kind of like, I just don't want to, you know, I don't want to do this anymore. And that's why I ended up the decision thinking, like, you know, I'm just going to quit YouTube altogether. Like, why should I? You know, why should I want to fucking do this? I made this biggest mistake of trying to hunt something that was never going to happen by trying to rebrand and delete all my videos, and then all of a sudden realizing that was a fucking stupid idea. I've lost, my channel's dead. My channel's gone. It's completely gone. That's no more. So, fuck it. You know what? Fuck it. I'm throwing in the towel. I'm just going to quit. You know, I've got bigger things coming up in my life. You know, I've just kind of started putting the pieces back together. I'm still trying to battle this anxiety and everything else. Like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna put it to bed. And then I did that. You know, I tweeted saying, you know, I'm done. I've finished. I've got things going on, and I need to address them. And it was just a cock-up cascade. You know, everything led from one thing to another, and it all just, my shit heap just got gradually worse. And then I was kind of like, you know, like one night, it was just like to the point where I was this kind of feeling like I'm at the bottom of this now. It was like, you know, just as one thing was coming ahead, just as one thing was getting itself fixed, another thing was falling apart. And it was juggling all of this, which I think was the biggest issue. So, as the past few months have progressed, obviously I haven't been uploading. My number one priority, obviously, besides Jody and the baby and Lee and the house and the dogs and everything else along that front, my main priority within myself was to get myself completely free of any prescription pills that I'd been taking. That was my anxiety tablets, that was sleeping pills, everything, anything like that gone. I decided, in my infinite wisdom, to fight a mental illness, which was, it was fucking killing me. There was no two ways about it. It was just destroying me. Whilst you, like, you know, you look at me to think, well, you know, he's just one ugly cunt. Internally, it was ripping me the fuck apart. And I was like, I'd gone in the space of being, in 12 months to 18 months, somebody who was happy-go-lucky as fuck, don't get me wrong, I was a bit grumpy some days, to being this quivering wreck that can't really do anything, you know? Like, I could put the face on, I could talk a good game, no problem, but dude, I couldn't even get the football. Like, it was so bad, it was so out of control, that I just decided, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna fucking man up and face this shit, because I've been trying to hide behind things for so long now, that I can't take it anymore. Like, honestly, the next option, like, I don't even want to know what the next option would have been. And so I stopped taking my sertraline, I stopped taking my tablets, and it was fucking hard. It was hard as shit. I was miserable, I was grumpy, and like, I didn't even tell Jody, like, I didn't even tell my wife. I was like, no, I ain't gonna fucking speak a word of shit about this, because you're gonna lose your fucking head if you find out that I'm doing this right now. And I think she knew in her own way, because it was like, because like how my mood it changed so drastically. Because don't get me wrong, whilst I was on the sertraline, I was pretty chill, but it didn't really deal with the issues that I was having. It just kind of like put them to one side for a bit, and I was like, I just need to face this shit head on. So, and like, it took me about a month to 6 weeks, maybe a bit more, I don't know. Like, this past 10 months or so have been an absolute fucking blur. And I fought it head on. And you know what? Not all stories have a happy ending, but this is not as bad. And I'm doing a lot better. You know, like, you have your moments where it kicks in, but it's nowhere near as bad. And for the first time in a long time, I kind of think that I'm seeing a lot clearer. You know, like, I can start seeing things a bit more like straightforward. And everything's kind of a lot clearer now. It doesn't have like this weird haze over it. And you know, like, I don't want to say like anything too drastic, like, oh, I was at the bottom of the barrel, or it couldn't have been worse, because it could have been worse. You know what, people have it worse. Don't get me wrong, it's been an absolute shit show. But at the same time, like, to come out of it, you know, I've come out of it pretty much unscathed. I probably put on some weight, but other than that, like, I can deal with that. I can work on that. But I think it could have been a lot worse. So, yeah, like, everything that I can kind of think, like, if I went into my old way of overthinking it, and then I would not be happy with it whatsoever, and I'd be pulling my fucking hair out. But one thing that I have realized in the last 12 months is, dude, you know what? Don't take shit too seriously. Don't take life too seriously, because nobody's getting out alive anyway. You know, and that's just a fact of the matter. So, yeah, you know, all's well to end well. My anxiety is well and truly under control now. I'm not taking any prescription pills whatsoever, and everything's a lot clearer. And, like, do I want to grow this channel back to where it was? I don't give a fuck. If I'm being perfectly honest with you, I don't not give a flying fuck. I'm just glad to have myself back in check, you know, and like, as much as the last 12 months fucking sucked, like, there was so many good things to come out of it as well. Like I said, the start of last year, I moved house, you know, I bought this amazing house, and it's incredible. And obviously, I went away and got married, which was, again, it was incredible, man. It was insane, you know, and yeah, then shit went south, but things are looking up. It's not long until the baby's going to be here. He's going to be here in about 8 weeks' time, so that's exciting. It's going to be fucking hard work, but it's exciting nonetheless. And you know what? Everything seems to be falling back into place nicely, and all being well, I can get this channel back on track, and if it grows, it grows. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's fine. So, for anybody who's still listening to this point, thank you very much for a start, and especially for all the nice comments and stuff that I've had over the past 12 months or so, because like I said, I have been not in the best frame of mind. But now, like I said, everything's looking a lot brighter. And this isn't one of them scenarios where it's like, oh, I'm feeling better, I'm feeling better. No, I am feeling a lot better. I'm doing a lot better. It's worlds apart. Like, the difference between then and now is incredible. And it's nice to be on the other side of that. So, all being well, this will be, I don't know, I'm not going to call it day zero or a start again. You know, I've kind of had that discussion, the fresh start discussion type thing. I don't think it's necessarily going to be that. But I kind of wanted to just put this out there just for more for documentation more than anything, because, you know what, like, it doesn't matter how shit things get. If you can just grit your teeth, if you can bear it, and if you can just man up and face your problems head on instead of trying to hide from them, you're going to come out of it a lot better than what you went in, even if it doesn't look that way at the time.